I remember my parents waking me up, and we went down and we watched you guys land on the moon.
No,
which
you didn't.
was
No, you didn't.
what?
Because there wasn't any television. There wasn't anybody taking a picture. You watched animation. You watched animation. You watched animation.
Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement.
So, on January 3rd, 2018, there was a major malfunction on what's called the International Space Station. In a video on NASA's YouTube channel called Space Station Crew Members Discuss Life in Space with the Media, the three astronauts, all disappear simultaneously while the background layer of the ISS remains intact.
Thank you very much again. Thank you for your time. Have a good flight and many more exciting experiments on the orbit. Thanks a lot.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
When you look at this, and the actors, they are the only things that mess up. Watch closely. This is a big deal because it means without any doubt whatsoever that there was live editing and video manipulation. Not only would the background get scrambled as well, but these guys wouldn't all disappear at the same time. So check that one out on NASA's channel. I'll leave a link in the description. There are a lot of us that have been showing this stuff for years, and people are waking up to the deception, while some refuse to acknowledge it. In fact, many people hold the idea of outer space and NASA very near and dear to their hearts. So much so that when they are shown this evidence, their ego won't allow them to accept that space is a hoax. Years of psychological programming through various media doesn't help either. But whether we like it or not, NASA and all the other space agencies are lying to the world. They're lying to you. They're lying to your kids. We've caught NASA too many times to count at this point. We catch them glitching, There's this one video where the actor is going around a corner and he is faded out before making it completely out of the viewer's sight.
We all know NASA uses wires, and sometimes we'll catch them like this here. The guy pulled on his wire. However, some days when you're filming live, things just don't work out, and it becomes so blatantly obvious, it's ridiculous. So, in this clip, they're talking, live feed, and what you know, we have a astronaut go by us in the background, obviously trying to give it a more realistic, spacey, station, busy effect. The only problem is the camera that was supposed to mask this harness out, or the video feed, is not working. And so we see the guy come flying along in a harness on his wires. Pretty amazing. But that's not all that goes wrong here. channel in 3D space. It's virtual reality. They're wearing augmented contact lenses so that they can interact with these 3D objects. Now, in this scene, the guy on the left in the green shirt, he thinks he sees an object in 3D space that's being broadcast to him. So he grabs it and he puts it off to the side. He's looking straight ahead because he's looking at an object rotating in front of him, but the video channel is down that is supposed to show the viewers what we're supposed to see, and so we don't actually get to see the object that he is seeing. And I would just sum this up as a very terrible, bad, horrible day for NASA doing live feeds. As much fun as this was, there is a time coming when you and I will not be able to tell the difference.
And of course, NASA just gives us a bunch of CGI images of the Earth. And NASA uses green screen for pretty much everything they do. Also, when it comes to Elon Musk, in 1952, Wernher von Braun, the father of rocket technology, wrote a book called Project Mars, which imagined that human colonists on Mars would be led by a person called Elon. Here's what the book says. The Martian government was directed by 10 men, the leader of whom was elected by universal suffrage for 5 years and entitled Elon. 2 houses of parliament enacted the laws to be administered by the Elon and his cabinet. Well, there are some things I want to say when it comes to this SpaceX launch. One is, here's this photo where, one side is a completely round Earth and the other it looks like a flat or almost concave kind of Earth. But one thing that I wanted to react to that many people have pointed out is that a mouse walked on the booster of the SpaceX rocket. And so I want to react to it.
Again, on your right screen is that first stage booster coming back.
Take a look on the left. Forget the right screen.
Of course, I Still Love You. We're about a minute away from entry burn.
Meanwhile, that second stage continuing to power Dragon into orbit. Again, if you're keeping an eye on that timer, that's going to continue to burn until 8 minutes and 44 seconds into flight. So a little over 2 minutes from now, we'll hear the call out SECO.
Yeah.
It'll then be a little
Stage 2 propulsion is still good.
A little over 3 minutes.
What is that?
Until Dragon physically separates from the second stage of the Falcon 9.
Also, side note, the rocket booster engine looks total CGI, as well as the background and everything.
Continuing to check in with Bob.
3 minute Dragon into orbit. Again, if you're keeping an eye on that timer, that's going to continue to burn until 8 minutes and 44 seconds into flight.
We're about a minute away from entry burn.
Meanwhile, that second stage continuing to power Dragon into orbit. Again, if you're keeping an eye on that timer, that's going to continue to burn until 8 minutes and 44 seconds into flight.
A little thing
so a little over 2 minutes from now, we'll hear the call out SECO. It'll then be
of course, there's no way that a mouse could survive in space because,
until Dragon
they're supposed to run out of oxygen.
The second stage of the Falcon 9 after the upper stage gets.
But you know why? Because this is a green screen. This is a green screen. They're using special effects with the rocket booster.
Continuing to check in with Bob and Doug.
Big Earth
they are on a nominal trajectory.
Is all green screen.
Just about 10 seconds away from that first stage.
The rocket never goes
starting that entry burn on your right screen.
So as I was saying, if you didn't hear any of that, the reason why a mouse is on the rocket booster is because that this is a green screen. It's not in space. This is a green screen. And they're using special effects when it comes to the rocket booster. And they're using a total background green screen when it comes to the perfectly round Earth you see behind it. Because the rocket did not go into space, but it goes straight down. That's why rockets never go straight up. And you can't go to space because of the firmament.
This is how easy you can be fooled. Lol, what a legend! Why don't we see any land when we're looking down at the ocean from the space station?
Because you're over top of ocean.
Okay, well, don't you think they could be fooling us with this picture?
Okay, I give you this.
Wait, watch the picture.
I know that.
Watch the picture.
I know
watch
that they've airbrushed some stuff.
It's not
up.
airbrushed. This is us in our front yard and a solar panel, and we tricked you, showing you how easy. We have zero budget. They have $65 million a day, and I tricked you.
One thing I'd like to mention at this point is how easily we can be fooled by two-dimensional imagery. We've been trained and conditioned to suspend disbelief when we see certain two-dimensional imagery, such as photographs. You know, a photograph is not reality. It's a photograph. And photographs can be altered and manipulated. Video is not reality. And here's some examples of that. Point is, you can't automatically trust any two-dimensional imagery or media that's presented to you by the establishment. When you try and search for a picture of Earth from space, you'll find surprisingly few of them. In fact, all of them, including this one, this is from NASA, it's called the Big Blue Marble. All of them are composites. NASA will freely admit to them being composite images or CGI or Photoshop.
It is Photoshopped, but it's has to be.
Even the one image that is claimed to be an actual photograph of Earth from space is called into question, simply because of a film that was released accidentally by NASA of Apollo 11 faking the very first picture of Earth from space. So let's have a look at that video.
An old reel received by mistake. It contains the raw or unedited footage of the crew of Apollo 11, Michael Collins, Edwin Aldrin Jr. and Neil Armstrong, staging part of their mission for nearly an hour in living color, with exceptionally clear behind-the-scenes audio of conversations discussing the techniques used to achieve a disingenuous picture depicting the Earth at a distance, in order to falsely demonstrate their far journey from it and their ability to survive passing through the Van Allen radiation belts. It cannot be misconstrued that this staging was done for some other reason, for the reel itself is slated and dated July 18th, 19th and 20th, 1969, the very days of the mission when they were said to be approaching and achieving lunar orbit. Understand, too, that only about 20 seconds of this raw footage was ever broadcast to the public, and these conversations discussing their deception were believed to be private. Until now. Here they discuss that these television transmissions were in fact not broadcast live as everyone believed. They were first screened and edited for playback later.
Roger, Neil. We just wanted a narrative such that we can, when we get to playback, we can sort of correlate.
Here they discuss the fact that they have turned out the lights and have blocked out sunlight from entering the spacecraft through the other windows, as to not cause any reflected light to fall onto the spacecraft's wall in the foreground.
Okay, very good. Well, we shut out the sun coming in some of the other windows into the spacecraft, so it's looking through the number one window, and there isn't any reflected light.
The reason this was done is so that the truth of the matter would not be revealed.
What most people don't realise is that all the characters in this story are all actors in the same club, as George Carlin put it.
Evidence that is coming from primarily NASA, the government, and the military. Three organizations that have proven to be completely untrustworthy on numerous counts. If we were to put them on trial, they would all be guilty of being pathological liars.
All you have to do is lie on your back on a moonless night and look around carefully.
Yeah, occasionally you'll see something that looks kind of like a star, but it's moving. It's moving a little fast too, and that's actually a satellite.
Now, I do accept that you can look up into the night sky and see what we're told are satellites. I've done it myself. I've seen bright lights moving across the sky, but I have no idea what those things are. In this video, you can see several large, bright objects. However, none of them appear on any satellite tracking applications. When you look up at a jet airliner, flying at 35,000 feet, you can only see it as a small dot. So how is it if something the size of a jumbo jet is rendered as a small dot at about 5 to 7 miles up, that you can see a satellite which is the size of between a car and a school bus at 100 miles away? You just wouldn't see it. There may be things that are way beyond the human mind's ability to comprehend.
I won't even go into stars here. Stars are still 100% a mystery. All we know is that they say that they are trillions of miles away. That's for you to believe or to not believe. But planets, okay, we can see them independently. They look like luminous objects in the distance. But without NASA CGI photos where shading is added, they can't be confirmed as spheres. Through my telescope, they don't appear to have life or livable terra firma. We simply don't know what they are, but they appear to just circle around us and have something to do with the mechanics of this reality. Just because something looks like a circle doesn't make something else a ball or an oblate spheroid.
It is claimed that the other planets are spheres, and so therefore Earth must also be a sphere. Firstly, Earth is a plane, not a planet, so the shape of these planets in the sky have no bearing on the shape of the Earth beneath our feet. Secondly, these planets have been known for thousands of years around the world as wandering stars, since they differ from the other fixed stars in their relative motions only. When looked at with an unprejudiced naked eye or through a telescope, the fixed and wandering stars appear as luminous disks of light, not spherical terra firma. The pictures and videos shown by NASA of spherical terra firma planets are all clearly fake computer-generated images and not photographs. The etymology of the word planet actually comes from the late Old English planet, or from Old French planet, from Latin planeta, from Greek planetes, planetae, wandering stars, or to wander of unknown origin, to spread, or notion of spread out, from Latin planum, flat surface, plane, level, plane. They just added a T to our Earth plane, and everyone bought it.
Here's a picture of Jupiter. This is from 3 separate images, okay, 3 separate periods, but they're always at the same angle. Now, if someone's in the North Pole, and then someone's in the South Pole on the bottom side of the globe, they would see Jupiter upside down. Now, if you're going to tell me this was taken with a satellite, even a satellite would move in all different directions. It wouldn't take the same angle over and over again. This one has a moon in front of it, same angle. This one doesn't. This one's a little lighter, just about the same angle, nothing. So again, I mean, you want to talk about major, this is it right here, okay? Yeah, you might be able to see something through your telescope, but you're not seeing this, okay? In high detail like this, you're not. Not with any amateur telescope, period. Here we go. This is Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. Again, same angle. Only difference is they colored this one. It's the same damn photo. All they did was darken this one, and then they put a little bit of a shading right around this edge where the pointer is on it. But it's the same damn thing. So they didn't change anything. They're not even trying that hard. They're just putting out photos. Here goes Saturn. Now this is supposedly an actual photo from a satellite. This is off NASA's website. Sure, it looks pretty, but it's not real. And they're telling you it's real, and you believe it because your ego won't allow you to say, look, it's all fake. Your ego won't allow you to know the truth.
Every picture we have from NASA of a planet is an artist rendering. They're not real pictures. If you take a strong telescope and look at a planet, it looks nothing like this. It looks like a self-illuminating light. It looks more like a star. They used to call planets wandering stars. Next, Saturn, I've looked at myself through high-power telescopes, and it really looks like a light bulb. It doesn't look like it's reflecting light. The rings are lit up. There's none of these colors on there. And these are just artist renderings. And if you believe that they're real, you're just sadly mistaken. Next, we recently had Pluto, pictures of Pluto, the one kind of center bottom. is the most recent one, and that was taken by a probe that was whizzing by Pluto. Pluto's spinning, there's barely any light out there, and it gets this perfect, brightly lit, crisp, clear image of Pluto and transmits it all the way back to Earth, where we can barely get cell phone signals, when you go out of town. Go to the next one. And if you look at it, again, Disney style, they show us this ridiculous picture, and Pluto is actually on Pluto. They're literally laughing at us.
Amateur balloon footage taken above the clouds has provided stunning visual proof that the sun cannot be millions of miles away. In several shots, you can see a clear hotspot reflecting on the clouds directly below the sun's spotlight-like influence. If the sun were actually millions of miles away, such a small, localized hotspot could not occur. Another proof the sun is not millions of miles away is found by tracing the angle of sun rays back to their source above the clouds. There are thousands of pictures showing how sunlight comes down through cloud cover at a variance of converging angles. The area of convergence is, of course, the sun, and is not millions of miles away, but rather relatively close to Earth, just above the clouds.
We'll talk about the vanishing point a little bit. These lines are parallel the way we see. They don't look parallel here, but if you flick to the next one, these are the corners of the hallway, and they rush to the point of convergence or the vanishing point. And that's how our eyes see. Everything rushes in from the sides, the top and the bottom, to our point of focus. And that's the vanishing point. The sky has no bumps on it. The sky is smooth, but the Earth has bumps on it. It has mountains, it has trees, it has cars, people, waves. Anything that comes across the flat plane that even rises up a little bit will create a false horizon in front of that vanishing point. So if you look at the light on the ceiling and imagine that's the sun, the sun's not getting any closer to the floor, but it is going down. And if you had some bumps in the hallway or some people standing down the hallway, the sun would disappear. That light would disappear behind their heads from the bottom up, just like we observed on this plane.
Ptolemy, who first put forward the heliocentric model, was acknowledged as the first Mason. Copernicus was a Jesuit priest. Sir Isaac Newton was a Freemason. All the astronauts are Freemasons. So you can see how this lie could work if all these celebrated people are telling the same story.
Nicholas Copernicus, Johannes Kepler, Galileo Galilei, and Isaac Newton, the four forefathers of the globalist heliocentric doctrine, all posed for Masonic portraits, highlighting various symbols and hand signs, denoting their affiliation with the Brotherhood. Galileo poses on a Masonic checkerboard floor, Kepler with the hidden hand sign, and all four of them pose with a Masonic compass and globe while flashing the Masonic M hand sign. Sir Isaac Newton was even knighted by Queen Anne at Trinity's College Masonic Master's Lodge. An inordinate number of NASA astronauts, the current propagators of the globalist heliocentric doctrine, are or were admitted Freemasons as well. John Glenn, two-time U.S. Senator and one of NASA's first astronauts, is a known Mason. Buzz Aldrin Jr., the second man to lie about walking on the moon, is an admitted ring-wearing, hand-sign-flashing 33rd degree Mason from Montclair Lodge, number 144 in New Jersey. Edgar Mitchell, another supposed moonwalker aboard Apollo 14, is an Order of Demolay Mason at Artesta Lodge number 29 in New Mexico. James Irwin of Apollo 15, the last man to lie about walking on the moon, was a Tejon Lodge number 104 member in Colorado Springs. Don Eisel on Apollo 7 was a member of the Luther B. Turner Lodge number 732 in Ohio. Gordon Cooper aboard Mercury 9 and Gemini 5 was a Master Mason in Carbondale Lodge number 82 in Colorado. Virgil Grisham on Apollo 1 and 15, Mercury 5 and Gemini 3 was a Master Mason from Mitchell Lodge number 228 in Indiana. Walter Schirra Jr. on Apollo 7, Sigma 7, Gemini 6 and Mercury 8 was a 33rd degree Mason at Canaveral Lodge number 339 in Florida. Thomas Stafford on Apollo 10 and 18, Gemini 7 and 9 was a Mason at Western Star Lodge number 138 in Oklahoma. Paul Weitz on Skylab 2 and Challenger is from Lawrence Lodge number 708 in Pennsylvania. NASA astronauts Neil Armstrong, Alan Shepard, William Pogue, Vance Brand, and Anthony England all had fathers who were Freemasons too. The amount of astronauts known to be Freemasons or from Freemasonic families is astonishing. It is likely that more astronauts and people of key importance in NASA are affiliated with the Brotherhood as well, but not so open about their membership. For there to be this many Masons, members of the world's largest and oldest secret society, involved with the promotion and propagation of this globalist heliocentric doctrine from its outset to today, should raise some serious suspicion.
I'm still surprised how often I see the globe in corporate logos, almost every piece of media I look at, including commercials, magazines, and music videos, and album covers. I mean, it's a lot. And the rest of us describe a ball Earth as where we live because we don't know any better. When it's drilled into your head as fact before you even get to the 3rd grade, you end up with that core belief, a belief that's hard to part with. We all have a little bit of ego and we don't want to be wrong, but this flat earth epiphany is rousing us from our sleep and we're now noticing the massive amounts of programming.
The world has been systematically brainwashed and indoctrinated for centuries into believing the greatest lie of all time, that the earth is a spinning globe.
Decades of programming through entertainment media, over 100 years of science fiction books, and stories and television programs and films. I must admit to being a science fiction fan myself. I grew up watching Star Trek, Star Wars, Babylon 5, Battlestar Galactica, watching films like 2001, 2010. I truly believed that our future lay in space. I saw an exciting future for mankind, moon bases, Mars bases, interstellar travel. But now I sincerely doubt there is any such thing as space.
It really is simple, believe it or not. Why were we all taught the globe from the time we could walk? Why are we all told it's the absolute unquestionable fact of all facts? Why are we told flat Earth is stupid, ancient, and primitive? Why are we shown globes in every logo, and why are they in every classroom? Well, that's simple. Because it's not possible to live on a globe. You can't live on a sphere. I get it. They taught us that we can and do, yet they forgot something very important to the truth, and that's called proof, or evidence. Without it, the only way to teach it is by forcing it down our throats from the age of 3.
This is the case. If this flat Earth is our universe, then it elevates man and this Earth to supreme importance, where every life, human or otherwise, is significant and sacred. And when we all realize that, then the world, the universe, changes.
Why don't they care? Well, it's not that they don't care, it's that they don't know that it's true, and even if it is true, they can't see how deep this goes, so they don't understand why it's even relevant or important. The shape of the Earth doesn't seem that important until you really expound upon the deepness of this conspiracy and how far-reaching it is.
To me, it matters because if they're going to lie about something like what the Earth actually is, then there's no limit to what they will lie about.
We're a random sneeze, we're an accident, we just blew up and molecules started spinning around together and eventually a fish crawled up onto water and turned into a monkey and that turned into you and here we are. That's what they're trying to tell you. Think about how that makes you feel metaphysically. Where does that place you as a speck of dust in the corner of the universe? You can see the Earth is flat, you can feel the Earth is stationary, but according to the gospel of modern astronomy, you are wrong and a simpleton worthy of endless ridicule if you dare to trust your own eyes and experience. As much as people like to ridicule it and laugh about it and claim like there's no proof for it, when you really start digging into it, not only will you find reams and reams of proof and evidence for the flat Earth, you're going to find that there's no evidence whatsoever for the spinning ball Earth.
The Earth is flat. The whole, all the information about how the planet is a sphere is made up by NASA. It's a NASA conspiracy. They're just trying to find ways to get more funding, more money. But in reality, the Earth is flat, and the rim is completely closed off by this massive ice wall, kind of like in the Game of Thrones. Why do they believe this conspiracy? I don't understand what the point of it is. Do you see what I'm saying?
I know.
Like, what
they
is...
are lunatics.
Oh.
And I think what it is that there is a certain group of people who have a psychological condition where they're paranoid about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so this feeds into it. They're like, yes, I knew it.
It is known that the Earth is flat.
Oh, so what's behind you?
Behind me, there is a wall of ice that goes up to space.
But why would there be a wall of ice if you're in Dothraki and you're in a Dothraki field?
I am near the Dothraki Sea.
Oh, is that right? Okay. It was a great pleasure, and thank you for saving us from falling off the Earth.
The pleasure is mine.
Okay.
Once you start seeing past this illusion and you accept that things aren't adding up, you also start to notice how this subject is heavily and unnecessarily ridiculed. It's the single most taboo topic in this day and age, yet the evidence for the flat Earth and the lack thereof for the spherical Earth have a different story that desires to be heard, and some people are hearing it. We're waking up and we don't care if you can't handle it. Others will handle it, and you'll be left with your pride and a flat Earth kernel in your brain driving you mad. Free yourself from this insanity, at least if you truly don't care. Focus your attention someplace else. There's no need to feed all of your energy into something that you thoroughly don't believe. We would love to have you on board, but we don't need you. You stay firmly put while the rest of us try to unlock the doors to the real knowledge.
Prepare for the onslaught of NASA brainwashed zombies that are going to come your way, thinking that they know everything about the spinning ball they're living on.
Let us never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories.
The world is flat, and it's a conspiracy of scientists and others who publish these pictures. The evidence is remarkable. People like me have not done our job. But shooting the messenger isn't going to change the science.
Don't give me the conspiracy bullshit. Come on, you're a more intelligent man than that. Come on. I mean, come on. Listen. There has never been a conspiracy.
All that's left now is ad hominem attacks.
And if someone says the Earth is round and someone says the Earth is flat, at some point you're going to make a judgment. The Earth is flat, people, is just flat.
Everybody has the exact same response. We all have the same response. This is crazy. This is stupid. This is absurd. Why are you even thinking? What, you've lost your mind? We all have the same initial response. But for those who actually take one day to try to research this stuff for themselves, at the very least, they become hooked and have to spend another day and another day. And the more you spend looking into it, the more you're going, I don't know what to believe.